Hello there and welcome to another BrightFlow Data to Dashboard presentation. My name is Paul Clark and I work at Bright Systems, and here's a quick rundown of what we're going to be covering today. First up, we're going to be replicating some data using BrightFlow Ingest. The data stored in MS SQL, and we're going to replicate it up to Amazon S3. Then we're going to view the data by creating an Amazon Redshift spectrum table. And then finally we're going to be building a dashboard which will allow us to visualize the data. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so what is BrightFlow Ingest? Well, it's a near real-time mechanism for replicating source data into Amazon S3 or Redshift. We can source from MS SQL, Oracle, SAP or Salesforce. It's inexpensive, codeless, it has zero impact on source systems as it works off the change logs. The data is untransformed, basically it's a complete replica of source. And it also has point-in-time information which allows you to do point-in-time analytics. Okay, so let's have a look at the data we're going to be replicating. Basically we're using an MS SQL instance which is running an MS SQL database, and the data we're interested in here is my music collection stored in Paul's Music. So if we have a quick look at the data, you can see we've got roughly 19,000 rows. Let's just have a look what the data actually looks like. So we've got artist, album, track, title, year, length. Let's have a look at some slightly credible music. So we've got the Beatles, lots of interesting information there. And then finally, let's have a look at all of the different artists we've got. Some good, some not so good, some very, very ropey. This is the BrightFlow web dashboard. It shows the current status of the BrightFlow Ingest product. Not really a whole lot going on at the moment because we're just doing a demo. If we move to the Connections tab, we can see our source database connection details. And we can see our destination file details. This is where the data is going to land in S3. And then all we have to do is we have to go to Data. We select the database, schema, the table. We select extract by primary key with history, and then we select the primary key, which in this case is the full path. We hit apply, full extract, and then as per the instruction we move to the schedule tab and sync new tables, and then we just wait for that to upload to S3. Well, that took about a minute or so to upload to S3. We're now in the S3 browser, and here's the folder that we specified, music demo. We can navigate to the data folder. This is the database name, the schema name and the table name. This folder contains details of the last run, year, month, day, hour, minute, second. And there's our data. It's up there in zip format, so I could download it, unzip it and show you in Notepad, but I think it's probably going to be easier if we create a table in Redshift Spectrum, and then we can look at the data using standard SQL. We're now in SQL Workbench using the JDBC Redshift driver, and what we're going to do is we are going to create a Redshift Spectrum table. Now these are tables accessible by Redshift, but they actually have their data stored in S3, which is where we've just uploaded all of our data to. So it's pretty standard create table, and see here the last two fields are the Bright Ingest point-in-time analytics fields. This tells you the current flag, highlight and run. And we've created the table. We can do a quick query of that table just to count the number of rows. And we've got the same row count as before. What we can do is just look at some of the data. And as I explained before, on the right hand side you can see the start and the end date, the active flag. Now what I've also done is I've got a Redshift table which has the top 100 albums by sales of all time. So you can see here there's some Eagles, Michael Jackson, we've got Beatles, Alanis Morissette, Bob Marley, some pretty good stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run a query which interrogates the Redshift data, which we're looking at on screen, as well as the Spectrum S3 data, which has basically all the data is stored in S3 rather than in Redshift. And what we do is we'll have a look how many of the top 100 albums I've got. And you can see we've got quite a few. Now looking down that list, I can't seem to see any of the Beatles. And let's just have a look at the data. And the reason being, I call it the Beatles, whereas the top 100 albums call it Beatles. So let's go back to source, fix that up, and we'll progress that change through into S3. Okay, we're now back in our SQL database, and what we're going to do is we're just going to update all of the artists where the artist name is The Beatles to just Beatles. Okay, we've done that. Now the ingest process is running currently, so we'll give that a few seconds and then we'll go back to the Redshift table to have a look at the data change. Okay, Brightflow ingest has done its stuff, took about a minute or so. We're now back in SQL Workbench, so if we now review the data, we can now see we've got Beatles and the Beatles, which is the change I made. And then if we move along to the right hand side, you can see how the active row is here and it has a start and an end time, and the inactive row is there. So now when we run our SQL, where we're joining the top 100 albums with the spectrum table, we should now see a few Beatles appearing in my music collection, which we do there, number 18, number 28, 71. Okay, that all looks great. Okay, we're now in Tableau and we've got the Redshift connection here, connecting to my database dev, and in the spectrum schema we can see the table created on top of the S3 data. We've joined that with the top 100 albums of all time, which is just a standard Redshift table, and that's the details of the join. And what we're going to do now is create or go to a quick chart where I've summarized that data, showing the top 100 albums and basically the matches where I have it. So you can see we've got some pretty decent albums which millions of people have bought, and me. And now if we go to the dashboard, there's a lovely little dashboard with a Brightflow logo at the top. So basically that concludes the demo for today. Really appreciate your time, and if you'd like to know more, please feel free to get in touch with Bright. Okay, have a good day. Bye bye.